Welcome to this very special edition of the KJ Masterclass Live, the show which ensures that you profit from your time spent here with experts, either through their industry insights, information, or simply learning from them. And today we have Luigi Pecoraro. He is igniting leadership potential through education and leadership development. That's he doing a lot of work in there. And as a trusted advisor, coach, and strategist, he is also executive director at Eller Executive Education. Welcome to the show, Luigi.
Thank you, AJ. Good to be with you.
You are welcome. Welcome to the show. Welcome to India in this online form. And I'm sure not just in India, but a lot of people across the globe will benefit from what we are going to talk right now. We'll be talking about the science of modern leadership. In this backdrop, we'll have our conversation. But before that, Luigi, let's understand a bit more about your background, your journey, so that the
Sure.
audience knows who they are listening to.
Yeah, and I appreciate that. I love the topic, science of modern leadership. I've been really interested in applied science my whole career, AJ, starting with my first social psychology class in college. But my field has been training and development for throughout my career. And for the first 10 years, I was in industry and in consulting, helping organizations develop their more supervisor, manager, mid-level professionals. And then I went into career coaching and executive coaching for a period of time. And then found my love here with executive education in 2013, where we really sit at the intersection of academia and the corporate world, bringing that evidence based learning that science has produced to our corporate clients, to executives, to help them perform better as leaders, giving them something that they can look at that's tried and true from what research has shown.
Right, right, Luigi. So let's understand these things in the modern context then. In today's
Sure.
time, what are the major challenges that business leaders or other leaders are also facing in this today's time? There is so much of help. You have got better communication, better tools. Everywhere you go, there are tools to help you. People who have got better equipment. So, what is the challenge in today's time? Whereas it looks like to be, especially in the backdrop of this great resignation and quiet quitting.
Yeah, so I mean, I think the main challenge for leaders and leadership in general is that there aren't always clear answers as we go forward, right? We're going into a future that's unknown, that's unpredictable, it's uncertain, it's volatile. Things are continually changing in our world. Technology is augmenting that right now, and so we have to challenge ourselves to be ahead of the game, to stay current, to stay relevant, to stay in touch with our people. And that requires our ability to be a quick study. It requires our ability to be flexible with our thinking, with our strategy, with our ability to read the signs of the times and to make decisions, maybe not necessarily quickly, but as informed as possible, as quickly as possible with the input of as many stakeholders as possible, as realistic as you can be in the time that you're in. And things are happening quickly. And so that may mean you can't make all the decisions you need in your organization. If it's a great resignation, maybe that's something you have to empower a team around your HR group to deal more with head on while you're dealing with a bigger crisis, perhaps on a global strategy side. So having people around you, exceptionally excellent leaders around you is really important because the battle's on many fronts in your organization. But I think one of my favorite topics today, based in science, is this notion of learning agility, based in science, which is this ability to respond as quickly and flexibly as possible to the situation you're in. That requires both, cognitive intelligence, but also emotional intelligence that you bring to the table. But you have to really bring those two to play, coming into a new situation and being resourceful, being mindful, and being confident that you can figure out the solution, even if it's not clear or evident.
Right, right. We'll come to the agility part, Luigi. But first, you talked about emotional intelligence. So you see, if I see it from my perspective, my understanding, audience's
Sure.
perspective also is that nowadays the challenges are resilience,
Yes.
adaptability, around
Right.
uncertainty, and you talked about emotional intelligence. So if these are
Yeah.
the issues, it means these are issues differently. It means they have studied all the books, but not these books. So
Yeah.
how will you help them? How do you deal with
Right.
such challenges then? Because this is then it looks like to be then they are not leaders in that sense, because just going through a great management school, getting a great degree, all these things are different leaders help us understand from that direction. Whose fault is it the society, is it the company, is it, or is it because companies are hiring you just by seeing your qualifications and your last and some sort of alumni sort of references, and then you get into the job and find it difficult to adapt and adapt.
Yeah, I can only say again, from my view and my perspective, to answer your question directly, I think we're still in love with technical skills. I think we're in love with the things that get us results, and often those are technical skills. Look at technology. How in love we are with technology, making things work. Um, and that requires a lot of technical skill. But the reality is when you do look under the hood as uh, to companies that are able to sustain success and longevity, there's more than that gets them there. Look at Microsoft and their ability to turn things around over the last 10 years. It took a renewal and a resilience and a growth mindset that they had to embed in their culture and get people to look at things differently in order to grow again. The term was only coined 30 years ago. It only really started hitting home about 20, and that's really when I woke up to it. It started hitting mainstream about maybe 10 to 12 years ago in terms of leadership development, organizations using it to hire people. I don't know that it's mainstream yet, AJ. I really don't think it's mainstream yet, as far as it being something that we expect or find that it has to be part of our condition for employment. I think we're still willing, to bet on people's technical skills.
Right, right, Luigi. So you talk about the science of leadership development. If the problem is not with the skills, it is the if the problem is something much more inherent or different, then how do you bring science here? Again, you don't have an injection or some sort of a vaccine here that you can give to someone and one will
That's
get
right.
immune to everything else and start performing. So help us understand then, how do
Yeah.
you do this in the way you are doing things at Eller Executive Education? And you talked of agility. Help us understand that in that context then.
Yeah, that's one aspect of that. But as you're as you're asking that question, it really goes back, to the kind of the grassroots of adult learning. There's really two theories that come to play. When it comes to adults and their need to learn or ability to learn, adults are going to learn best when they need to learn something that they have to apply right away so that it sticks. We know that that's really the key. And so, finding the right time when the need is most prevalent in their work life is also important. And then we know from experiential learning that they have to go through a cycle. They have to experience something, they have to try it, they have to reflect on it, they have to experiment with it. Recently, for example, just a pretest on their financial ability, and knowing that maybe it isn't what they think it is, creates this cognitive dissonance. Oh, I thought maybe I understood finance a little better than I did. right? And then walking them through and helping them understand a little bit and testing them afterwards. Oh, look, we can get you from here to there. We can get you from 60% to 90% with some basic learning. And now we'll show you how to actually apply that in real life situations that can be useful. So, there are learning methods and approaches that are based in science that you can walk people through and show them the evidence, right? They'll see the evidence with their own eyes and abilities from the outcomes. And that's what it has to be. It has to be learner focused, outcome based, and application oriented. Those are three keys.
Right. So, how do you help them learn resilience and adaptability? And then you see the way things are
Yeah.
going. We are having more of human centered leader, empathy, IQ, ethical decision making, because the whole world is now wanting more sustainability, much more social responsibility from companies and leaders. They cannot just keep on looking at the bottom line and all the stock market prices. They also look at those lines, the way people's hearts are ticking,
Yeah,
especially the young generation.
that's right. Yeah. So, yeah, that's mindset and heart. You're talking about a mindset there, a shift in mindset in the way that we see the world, in the way that what we value, and really about self-awareness. That's the key to emotional intelligence, and our ability to expand our awareness to look at the consequences of our actions toward other people, right? And see what those are actually doing. Getting out of that self-centeredness and only for me. And sometimes what that takes is feedback, and that's something people aren't willing to give other people. That what you're doing is actually harming others or is not working for others and their benefit. Um, you have to create an experience where they can see beyond themselves. Um, and that's what in those kinds of experiences we call heat experiences. We raise the heat on them. We put them in a pressure cooker situation and really try to help them see that maybe the ways they've approached things in the past won't work in the future. Uh, in a conflict or in a team situation, the way they've handled themselves in the past isn't going to work. That they have to approach things differently, or they'll maybe be rejected by that group, and so they'll rethink their strategy of how to work with others. Yeah, self-awareness, mindset. We have to have a growth and global mindset today. So these are things that more and more folks, again, are teaching in education, in executive education, even down to grade school. It is happening, but it's just not as prevalent as we'd like to see. AJ, I'm with you on that.
Right, right, Luigi. Now, let me understand this. In your experience, or the type, which age group is the leadership mostly facing challenges? Is it the older leadership, say 45 plus,
Mm,
50 plus? Is it the
mm,
middle aged, or is it the younger leadership? Because a lot of startups are also coming
right.
in. Help us understand here.
Yeah, my experience is that each developmental age has its own challenge of leadership. So, in your 20s, you have certain leadership challenges that are unique to that developmental age. Some are more mature, some are less mature at that time in their lives, and they're going to face different kinds of leadership challenges. Some have a wisdom in their 50s that make them more mature and better leaders. Others still haven't gotten there. They're still leading the old way, top down, control, authority ridden. And that's because they own the company, perhaps. And if people don't do what they do, they can throw you out. And so they can do that. So I think the leadership challenges are at every level, AJ. I have not seen that it gets necessarily better with experience. It happens at every level. We work with people at all ages to develop them as leaders. What you see is a willingness to grow and learn. That's what's going to get you over the hump. If you have a fixed mindset, it's not going to happen.
Right. Why is that question is, Luigi, is see, the new generation is the one who is demanding more accountability on sustainability and social responsibility and other things. Now,
Yeah.
a lot of youngsters are there. They are going for startups. They may go
Yep.
for an executive education. They will learn. But what about others who have already had, great MBAs and all those education afterwards? Will
Right.
executive understanding education will help them at that stage? Do they need to learn again things like that? So that is where I
Mhm.
want to understand
Yeah.
how is
Yeah.
Eller education helping these leaders of different age groups?
Yeah, we can. I mean, just this past week, we had a group, average age in their mid 40s, senior leaders had been neglected in their leadership, but they need to grow and develop and be more mindful in terms of sustainability, in terms of not only environmentally, but of the organization. They see the difference in the workers coming into their organization, not able to keep them if they don't change their culture and their value set. Folks are seeing it. No, we're seeing the retention issues. We're seeing the generational gaps, and their awareness of it, at the Gen Z, I mean, the Gen X, baby boomer, Gen X level, Gen Y, seeing that they have to change their cultures to embrace these differences. And so they are coming to us asking about those issues, and we are educating them on that. In fact, my professor the other day just said, I think we're going to call it Gen Intelligence. We need to have this better intelligence about generational differences.
Right. Better understanding of generational differences. So then, what is this age about leadership? Is it about learning, unlearning, or relearning? How do you see it for leaders?
AJ, you hit them all. It's you can't learn sometimes unless you unlearn, and for some of us, it is relearning. A big part of adult learning is reinforcement, repetition, reminders. It is. As we often say, common sense isn't common practice. We have to create a discipline, and reminders to see the behaviors that are important through and consistently in an organization. That's the challenge. Is to drive those behaviors home time and time again. Any assessment that we use, to look at people's leadership behavior, emotional intelligence, they're always about rating people on how consistently they're able to demonstrate those behaviors. That's always hard to do depending on situation or context or challenge that you're facing. So you're never done in this process, right? You're never done. And so it is about sometimes unlearning bad behaviors, learning new ones, relearning ones that maybe you were displaying at one time very consistently and are no longer doing.
Right, right. That is where your research and your talk about focus around learning agility. So tell us a bit about in that backdrop, how is
Sure.
executive education making that difference, and what's the best way for people to make the best of Eller executive education?
Yeah, we love it when people will bring a group of their executives together. Half the value is getting these people to connect with each other and learn from each other and build those relationships. I mean, these are your leaders that have to take the organization forward. And if they're not connecting with each other and learning together and with each other, the organization isn't going to move forward. So, we are still a cohort based organization. We love to work with cohorts. I know a lot of things are going virtual, online, and yes, we can do blended learning, but people coming together is still an important part of learning, live and together in person. You still can't dismiss that the value that has.
Absolutely, absolutely. How about bringing some customers also into those meetings, because the customer is
Yeah.
is a forgotten entity in today's time. And these leaders,
That's right.
several of them, they have brought in bots and blocked their access to this. But they are very busy
Yeah.
on LinkedIn, but not you cannot access them on any of the purchase platforms that they have done. It is
Right.
simply
Yeah.
very
Yeah. We took this group out on a field trip to their customer sites. Yeah.
wonderful, wonderful. That may help, that
Yeah.
may help. So let's say, be that as it may, my job is to bring those issues in front of experts like you. So for those people
Yeah.
who would want to learn more from you, about you, want to engage with you, take your help from with your executive education, what's the best way for them to do so?
Yeah. My full name at arizona.edu. Best way, Luigi Pecoraro, all one word. It's, lower level, lowercase letters is fine. Luigi Pecoraro at arizona.edu. Or on LinkedIn. I am there, easy to connect with, and responsive there as well. We do programs in Arizona, around the states, and we are actually doing programs in Dubai as well as a central location to be available, around other parts of the world as well.
Wonderful. With this, it's a wrap on this very special edition of the KJ Masterclass Live. Thank you so much indeed for joining us.
Thank you, AJ.